Hello, everyone. My name is Chie Awoma, and I am the owner of Crunch LLC. And we specialize in growing tropical vegetables right here in a temperate climate of Iowa. And Iowa is found in the Midwest of the United States of America. Today, I wanted to bring forth an idea that I started thinking about a few weeks ago while I was doing my production planning. So I noticed that there's an existing opportunity that we can grow tropical vegetables right here in Iowa. And I thought that rather than just concentrating on how we grow tropical crops here or tropical vegetables right here in Iowa, I wanted to run a beginner farmer series, which basically would translate to like growing vegetables 101, and with focus on tropical vegetables. So this video really is for a lot of those who miss the farming that we had done back home, who are looking for opportunities to grow, even if how small vegetable they want to grow out here and at home, away from home. So with the video really is for people who are from like the continents of Africa, Asia, and obviously people from the Caribbeans. We will be growing a lot of vegetables that translates to these regions and even South America. So through this series, I will show you some of the processes that are involved in actually successfully growing vegetables right here in areas that are very unfamiliar to grow this kind of crops. We also want to showcase our skill to this great country of our farming potential. So in addition to that, we're growing obviously the global vegetables that we are all aware of. So we grow things like peppers, we grow onions, tomatoes, and all kinds of greens. So there is obviously a good market for it. People are interested to see what we do. So I thought that it was a good idea for us to start documenting this so that it's visible to everybody. So so in addition to that, we will be offering opportunities for people who are really interested to see what we do and how we grow this kind of vegetables. It's nothing really new. The only thing is that this is local production, which we are trying to promote so that at least we are providing some value in the community where we find as home today. Iowa is a very, very lovely place to be. It's been a home for us, particularly me, since I arrived here almost 8 years ago. It's a very friendly community, and we value our neighbors, we value the community, and then we want to make sure that we're promoting local production of vegetables and of all kinds. And we are actually very happy that the state has been giving us resources and trying to help us through various organizations to be able to grow these vegetables away from home. Now, in addition to that, obviously it provides a great diversity of ideas, diversity of skill, diversity of cultures, because we get to meet a lot of people when we go out to the farmers market and even out there to the fields. There's kind of seed exchanges between us who are from Africa, and then also some people who grow, for example, callaloo from the Caribbeans. And then we also do have Asians, and then we get to tap into some of the seed pool. It gives us that opportunity to kind of really network with them and get to understand what their values are, what their passions are, and the fact that they too are also in the same mission to provide to the community. So it is a very, very big plus. Yes, we've been really opportune to work with really some renowned organizations here that provide us support, and then opportunities to learn and mentorship and things like that. And we think that it's a good opportunity that we can also share with the rest of the people that are looking forward to. So without more ado, what we have on the pipeline this morning is what I consider or I call cold weather crops. So because now there's still snow on the ground, you would understand that we cannot plant outside. So we are sourcing vegetable seeds that we can be able to start indoors. And then when I say indoors, basically the greenhouse, and then we thin them, and then by the time we have the last frost day, then we can start transporting them to the field. So we're starting really with cold weather crops. So the past few days I did not show what I was doing, but I have planted some onions last week, green onions and some red sweet onions, and then I also planted collard greens and cabbages. These are really vegetables that can withstand the cold climate. They actually love the cold climate, so we want to plant them now, and then once places warm up a little bit, then we transplant them. And when we transplant them, there's also that advantage that if we plant early, then we can, since we're growing organic, we should be able to beat some of the pests that would really come up in the warm weather. So these are some of the advantages that we have doing this. Yeah, so I am going to go ahead and give you a lineup of what I'm going to be doing today, and I will start by showing you the trays that I'm going to be using and the reason why I'm using those trays. And then after that, I'll show you some soils, the soils that I'll be using. So today on the pipeline, I have hot peppers, habanero peppers that I want to grow. I also have some peppers that I brought from Cameroon. I also have some Scotch bonnet peppers that I sourced from Cameroon, and I'm going to be growing that as well. The plan for the hot peppers is I want to have at least 1,500 plants, and when I start calculating my yield, I'm going to tell you exactly what that is going to be, but that's not the lesson of today. So I will have that 1,500 plants. That's the plan. And then for bell peppers and sweet peppers, the idea is to have maybe just 400, 500 plants on that one. And then for onions, I really didn't count that, but I think I'm going to plant a quarter of an acre of onions. So that will be like mixed onions. So it's going to be green onions and the red onions, and then maybe some white sweet onions as well. So for collard greens, the plan is to have about 300 plants as well, and those ones I've already planted as well. And then for cabbages, somewhere around that 300 bunches or heads, we call them. Yeah, so that's what what I listed here, I had already planted them. I actually planted them before this idea came that I should have been documenting them. So yeah, so today, without wasting more time, I'll just go ahead and get started. So for the peppers, that's what I'm going to start with today. So yeah, so on the list here, the first step that I have on here, I will be using the first one. I really want to use two types of trays. So I'll use this one, which is really small, so they have very small cells, and this is about 200. This is 200. This is a 200 cell tray. So I'm going to use these ones, and then when those peppers grow up a little bit, then I'll transplant them into larger cells of about 70. This one is about, yeah, this one is 70, and then I think these ones can actually sustain to the planting, till they are ready for planting. So here I just want to start with this one. Once they germinate, and then I thin them into this, and it's just going to be one plant each. So each of this is going to contain 70 healthy plants. So I'll be using some soil, and there's really loose compost soil, which is very, very excellent for starting. Obviously, if you guys are going to need information on a lot of what I'm saying, yeah, you can reach out to me, and then I can provide you the soils that I'm using. Yeah, so because the whole idea is that I want to do this series, which I call Beginner Farmer Series 101 on growing vegetables, and then particularly tropical vegetables here. But in addition to that, I'll just go ahead and do a whole series of videos on the global vegetables that we all know. Yeah, so for those of you that are really interested, for those of you that have never really farmed before, who are interested, obviously you can do some of the most of the things that I'm saying here, you can do it on your backside. Yeah, so it's quite very easy. There's a lot of tools out there online that you can buy. All of this is really cheap. You can actually buy second-handed stuff like this and start. If you don't have a big farm, you can buy 3 of this and do this in-house, you know. So you plant, let's say you wanted to plant some onions, you just wanted to do it at the backside, you just cut 1/3 of this or 1/4 of this, you plant onions, 1/4 of this you plant, just sector them into like 4 sections, plant them, and then make a garden at your backside, and then also plant. So me and my son, we are going to be doing something in that line. So because I also want him to, I'll be out there with him in the field, but I also want him to kind of own the backyard, the garden, where he can see how these things happen. I just want my kids, obviously, because that's the main reason I'm doing all of this, is really for them, because I want them to grow up really understanding how this food is made, how seeds grow, the timings around it, because in the future it might pique their interest. Yeah, so yeah, I'll go ahead and get started here. Yes. Now I'm going to obviously put in the soil. So it's that simple. Let's pull the soil together, fill it in here, but without pressing it too hard. Yeah, so you press it too hard, then it comes a little bit. So you might see some sticks here, but that's all about it. It's actually useful. So yeah, I will put all of this in here without really pressing them hard. Make the soil loose. Put it all in here, and then I'll make sure that it's firm and steady. Make sure it's firm and steady. Just be reminded that this soil in here is just enough to get the plant started, and then once you identify those healthy ones, and then you can thin them into the larger cells. So the reason why we're doing this is because we cannot directly seed. So if directly seed during the warm weather, you cannot even get it on time, because these peppers, I think they're like 85 days. These peppers have 85 days to maturity. So if I plant them now, I should be able to start harvesting after that 85 days. So that's about 3 months. So we have to start them here. So once I start them with this, then the next step would be to thin them into the larger cells, so that they have enough nutrition to be able to grow to where we can harden them outside and then take them to the field to plant. So yeah, so for those of you who are planting this really in Africa, yeah, I see a lot of people also using the greenhouse. It's becoming something that people are really interested in now, and it's actually giving a lot of opportunities for farmers to grow healthy seeds. So one of the things too, that we have community farmers that have just small 10 by 10 gardens that they want to grow certain vegetables. So there's also an opportunity to sell the seedlings to them. So we're looking forward to also, maybe in the future, that's what we will be doing. But if I have enough, then I should be able to just provide some to people in the community, maybe free of charge, maybe for a price. No, provide some of them to the people in the community for a price, for the labor that I used to grow this. So if you're interested to buy some seedlings, reach out, let me know, and I can grow something for you. Yes, I can grow. If you're interested to get some vegetables, some plants, yeah, reach out to me, tell me how much quantity you want, and I can grow them for you. But that should come quicker rather than late, because if you order them late, I might not be able to turn around, grow them on time. Yeah, so this is now fixed, the soil. You see how nice this is looking. So what I need to do now is I need to put some holes in between, and then plant the peppers 2 each. And the idea is that I want to plant them so that if they germinate, for those that don't germinate, at least I have 2 to thin them out. So for those that germinate, fine and good, I can thin the healthy ones and use the larger cells, which I talked about earlier. So I can thin them and use these larger cells. Yeah, so that's the idea. The whole idea is start them here, but eventually I'm going to have to seed some directly here, because I might not have that time to come back and thin each and every one of them. It's about 200 seeds here. So if I plant them two each, it's going to be 400 seeds. So if they grow really healthy, I might not have time to really thin them out. So I'm going to have to do something around the lines of just directly seeding some of them in here that I think would sustain enough to be able to just go directly to the field without having to thin them. But then I'll still have to plant them two each here, just to make sure that for cells that don't have enough germination, then I can use them. Or some people, the way they do it is they just plant one each and then plant an extra, so that if some don't germinate, they can thin them into those larger cells. Yeah, so that's the whole idea. Yeah, so I'm not gonna be looking for some fancy tools here. Just like I said, if you want to buy all tools, they become really expensive, and then you'll be working at a loss. So what I'm going to do is just use a bowl marker here and punch holes in there. Yeah, so this is what I'm going to be using. I will just use a bowl marker here, and then just basically punch little holes here. Just punch little holes here, just like that. Because you don't want to plant those peppers too deep, so you just pop in little holes here. Because basically what they need is just a little bit of soil at the top, and then this soil also is very good because it allows water to go through. Yeah, so if some of you might ask why I'm using a very manual process here, it is because I do have that time to be able to do this. Some of you might be asking why I'm not using maybe a more fancy tool to be able to punch all these holes. Like I said, it's a very expensive process if you want to buy all these things. So sometimes we use what we got, right? I actually even like working with my hands like this, so it's not that delicious. See, like this one is too hard, so there's something in there, so I'm gonna have to pop it out. Pop that one out and put something else there. Yeah, so there's a hard soil in there, so just take this one out, and just like that, easy peasy. Yeah, so just like that. Yeah, so we keep going till it's done. So you see where we are now. Yeah, so this is looking really beautiful. Once we finish, it should look like this. Really nice. So now what I need to do is pick the seeds and then pop them in there, each of them in each of those cells. So I might use this, but I really don't like using them because sometimes I don't know how to even kind of measure two. So I just use my hands and pick two each and put them there. Manual process, yes, but it works very well for me. Yeah, so the first one that I'm going to be using here would be this one, so the first one that I'm going to be using here would be the sweet peppers. So this particular one is they call it the Chinese giant. I planted this last year, it did very well. Yeah, so I'm going to be planting this one again this year. So then the first one that I'm going to be putting in here will be the sweet pear pepper. So the variety that I have here is they call it the Chinese giant. So I planted that last year, it did really well. I also have for the second tray, I'm going to be planting the Grand Pear mix, and then I also have one that's a California mix as well. So I planted all three types last year, and then they did pretty much very well. So I'm not going to be reviewing this, but in the future dates I might take some time to actually review them. But once I plant all of this, you are going to see them when they grow up, and then you can evaluate by yourself to see exactly what how they do. So I'm going to label them. So I also do have the labeling kit here, which I'll write the name of the pepper, and then I'll write the variety and then the date that was planted. So these things they come really handy because you have lots of trays. In the greenhouse space right now, I have about I think it's 50 trays spaces. and that's a lot of traits to remember. You cannot remember the date that you planted. You can't even remember what you planted in each cell. So if you have, for example, these brassicas, collard greens, cabbages, when they germinate, some of them will look almost exactly the same. That you wouldn't know which one is which unless you label them. So that's the reason why we're using this. So this is really pretty cheap and very nice. And once you write on them, they really don't fade. They stick on it until it's time to plant. Yeah. So I recommend this, and then I'm going to just go ahead and write this one here. It will say it is this one will say, okay, this one was California Wonder. Yeah, that's I like that one too. I planted that last year and then it did well. So the whole thing here is just to write it, sweet peppers. And this one is California Wonder. I just write CW, and then the date that was planted. Yeah, so that's how this works. Perfect.